Hey everyone, jumping into a look on this heavy duty party tent. So if you're planning a wedding, graduation, family reunion, or a large outdoor event, this tent size can completely change how you use your space. So I love the fact that everything was labeled. It made it really easy to get through the installation. So this is a full install video, so it's a little longer, but it comes with so many different accessories. It has the frame, it has the screws, it has stakes, it has ropes that you can use, and then there are also sidewalls with windows, so you get a lot of natural light in this tent. So what I recommend doing is just organizing all the items. There were so many items in this tent. It came in actually 3 boxes, so it was a bit massive of a shipment. But once we got everything laid out and we looked at the instruction manual, it was pretty straightforward with how we needed to assemble it. So it's 16 by 32 feet, so it is huge. So there's a ton of room for tables, chairs, buffet stations, decorations. You can even use it as a temporary storage for a car if you wanted to. So this one has a ton of versatility. So we actually laid out all of the frame just so that once we connected it, we would know we were connecting it correctly. So the instructions are pretty clear on what connections go where, and then they have elbows that are labeled as well as additional connectors. So you definitely want to plan for it. It is definitely not a one-person setup, but I will say me and my husband did it. So I was super excited that it would only take a couple people, but I think if you actually had a crew, it would be much easier to actually set up. So once you lay everything out next to each other, it's pretty easy to connect. So having extra help definitely makes the process easier, and then organizing the frame pieces before you begin saves a ton of time. So once we laid everything out, we then labeled the elbow type pieces next to where it connects. So those are pretty easy as well. Everything slips in and locks in place with the little clickers that pop out in the holes. So I definitely thought that made it easy. Once we got that top part assembled, it just was pretty much good to go from there. The frame felt substantial. It includes removable sidewalls, roll-up doors, gives you some flexibility depending on the weather and the type of event that you're hosting. So on a warm day, you can actually leave it open. Today was some nice weather, so we do show it with the sidewalls, but you could have actually used it without if you wanted to. Or if you just want some more privacy, you can install the sidewalls and then zip them up and down or roll them up. So you can kind of make like an entrance into the tent and out the back if you would like. So similar tents like this are usually built with these steel frames, and then it has the PE covers, and then it just gives a lot of flexibility for the setup. So we kind of just went through with the instruction manual and put all the different pieces together. Once we actually got the frame with the side parts, it actually stood up on its own, and it allowed us to assemble the rest of the frame. So since it's such a large door structure, you can actually take your time to actually put the top part of it together, is what the instruction manual says. And then after you do that, it asks you to put on the canopy, and then you can stand it up and put on the full legs once the canopy is on. Now, one thing that I do want to say about this that we learned is in the instruction manual, it has a final step of putting on the front and the back of the tent that you can actually use as a roll-up door. We would recommend doing that during one of the earlier steps, because by the time we got the legs on, the tent was really tall and we actually couldn't get up there to actually put the front and the back of the tent on. So next time we use this, once we get the frame together and we actually put the overall canopy over it, we're actually going to connect the front and back walls as well. So I love the fact that this had a ton of versatility. Weddings, graduation parties, picnics, family reunions. We weren't really only impressed with the size, we just really liked how adaptable it was and how it felt as we continued to put together. So overall, we would say that this was actually pretty easy for us to put together. Because it was our first time, it took us a little bit longer. We were trying to figure out how to organize all the pieces and where them put to where they fit, and how to actually just lay it out before we got started. But once we did that, we kind of were able to push through it. This is definitely something that's adaptable. The sidewalls are removable, and then the top area is just pretty large. And so as you push through the frame, then they have you start to work on the middle area, and this is where the front and back of the walls hang. So we actually should have put that covering right there while we were building this section. But lesson learned, we will definitely do that next time. I think overall, if you are looking for an outdoor shelter or just an outdoor party space for special gatherings, this definitely can fit the bill. So I can definitely see this as a wedding or even a graduation find. The instruction manual was pretty easy. It took you through all the steps, and the only step that we would change is just the installation of that front and back kind of roll up doors. So the canopy was huge. It definitely, it wasn't 30 pounds, but it wasn't light either. So it actually took a couple of us to get the boxes here. But once you get the frame in place, you actually just put the canopy right over it. And then it actually has some long hanging sides that once we put the legs on, it fit right into the hole. So it actually kept the canopy snug and in place. Now for the legs, we actually did lift up one side and then put some kind of stable legs in place, and then we went through and filled in the remainder of the legs. So since it was just us, that worked really well for us, and it helped us to keep the tent kind of upright while we went through clicking all the legs in place. So once you kind of get it stabilized, we did 3 of the legs on the front, the back, and then the middle, and then it holds the tent up so that you can actually go ahead and assemble the rest of the legs. Once you get things lined up, the rest of putting the remaining legs on is super easy. So we kind of sped through that part. The tent looks absolutely amazing. I mean, it was great just like this, actually. It was a huge shaded area. Love the fact that it actually gave you like some really high vaulted ceilings almost for a tent. It was pretty cool. And then you use the hooks on each of the 4 corners, and you can hook the top canopy right down so that it feels tight and snug to the frame. And then we used the accessory they had to kind of keep it on a flat surface. So they give you some stakes to use, or they actually give you screws if you wanted to actually screw this item in place. So another thing about this is you can actually use this as a permanent setup. So it didn't take much to take down, but if you have enough space and you want to leave it permanently set up, I think this is definitely something you could do. The accessories that they use to put on the sidewalls, you just put through all the holes along the top of the tent. So for the purpose of this video, we did 2 in each section. So you just slip the kind of rubber band part through the hole, and then you wrap it around the sidewall as you put it on the top. So once you have all of them in, they also have Velcro that you can use to actually wrap the sidewalls around the poles. So make sure you're installing it correctly. We installed the first side inside out, so the Velcro was on the outside. So make sure that you're always installing it with the Velcro on the inside of the tent so that you can actually wrap it around the poles. So lots of lessons learned on this one, but I think once you put it together the first time, it's like super easy the next time. Absolutely loved the windows on this. It just was pretty nice visibility into the tent with the windows. So I thought that was great, because if you have any decorations on the inside that you want to be seen, you could totally do that. This is the front and the back of the tent. So the top part is the triangle, so you can tell where that actually goes on the tent, and then it has the zippers that can actually open the doors, and then it has the ties. So if you want to roll the door up, you actually could and just tie it up. So this is the part that we think should be early on, because you can see how high it was. we did not have a ladder, so we could not get up there to actually put the front and the back of the tent up. So we would have changed that step, or maybe brought a ladder or something that could actually get us up to the top so that we can install that part. But the sidewalls folded out really nicely. It came together beautifully. I think that this is just an absolutely amazing, great find. There's a couple different things that you can actually do. You can actually install the sidewalls on the outside as well so that you don't have to see the poles. So there's just a bunch of different ways that you could actually do this. It's great, I think, on a hot day when you need a large shaded area. This definitely can help you fit that bill. Overall, I just think that this was amazing and so excited to use this for all of the different reasons that we have coming up this summer with family, friends, or just kind of hanging out for parties, barbecues. This is definitely something that I think could fit so many needs, and this is something that you definitely may want to keep on hand.